But the moment I say that I'm not going to succumb to this because this is my purpose, this is something that I want to contribute to the society, come what may. And I think then the path is absolutely clear. Hello, everyone. Happy morning, happy afternoon, and happy evening. As you all know, I wish all of you all of that because you're watching this episode from various corners of the world at different time zones. Welcome, all of you, to this episode of Revolving Perspectives, powered by positivity, as you all know. So, this is an independent series that we are introducing on the occasion of International Women's Day, celebrating womanhood. We have been conducting these kind of interviews and publishing them on our various platforms, YouTube channel. And this independent series we thought of because we felt that womanhood is to be celebrated every single moment. The day which we celebrate is just a symbolic thing, but because we feel this, we believe in this, we thought of talking to those women who are literally celebrating their womanhood every single moment, every single day. And that could be an inspiration for all of us, not only women, but all of us. So today, I'm starting this series with a lady from Sydney who is hand-holding and supporting people to create their presence, their visibility on one social media platform, a professional platform, which is LinkedIn. Her mission is helping and hand-holding entrepreneurs to create their company pages and use LinkedIn in a widespread way so that they can build on their visibility and take their business them and themselves to the world. So there are a lot of things that we keep doing with these social media platforms, using them for our visibility. But let's understand from her what her mission is. And today, I have invited her with a specific purpose or intention, is that how does she look at women entrepreneurs and they using these platforms effectively. So let me welcome Michelle Raymond from Sydney.
Hey, Vinda, I'm so excited to be here. And as you know, I jumped at the chance to come and have this conversation with you because I'm really excited that you're bringing this up and that you are right. It is Women's Day every day. So thanks for letting me, be part of the conversation.
Most welcome, Michelle. And this is how I want to understand from you. And as I introduced you to my audiences here, my first question, because I'm simply not being able to stop myself from asking that question, is you have been saying that this is your mission of, you handhold people with this LinkedIn tools and building their visibility. What has been your experiences, particularly with women entrepreneurs?
Look, I'm on a mission to do good business with good people. That's what guides me. And, more recently, I've decided that actually what really excites me in my business is when I get to help women entrepreneurs who are normally, subject matter experts. They've been in their careers for probably 30 years and decided to set up their business, for themselves. Mm-hmm. And, I love working with these women because what actually happens is they doubt themselves because they didn't grow up with social media. They didn't grow up with LinkedIn. They're not sure how it all works. And I just love when I can take these amazing women and give them confidence to really shine on LinkedIn because they're doing some amazing things that literally change the world that we live in so many little ways, big ways, and everywhere in between. So I use LinkedIn as my tool to help them share their message. And, I just love working with, women that are probably 50 plus is one of my favorite target markets. So yeah, it's exciting. I love my job. It's a blessing to do it every day.
This is amazing, Michelle. So my next question is then, going by your experience, do you feel that women come across, or when they start interacting with you, do they come up with a lot of reservations or, a kind of feeling that they will not be able to do it probably? Do women come up with these kind of reservations more than men, or it's the same?
Look, I think there's a lot of anxiety that comes with women. Traditionally, men have always had a place at the table. They've had immediate respect. They've been put up on a pedestal, and women have had to fight for that, only over the last, 30, 40 years, like not a long time in the big scheme of the world. So, for me personally, in my experience, I think it's a lack of confidence that can be taught when people actually just have the skills. Like social media is just another skill, but other things can come into play. It could be anxiety around what will other people think. It could be like, will trolls come and say something nasty if I put content out there? It could be English as a second language. That can often, or education levels can often set people back, and especially women, that it's just another thing that chips away at confidence. So anxiety is a real thing. I think women experience that more, because what I find is women always want to know every single thing and have everything perfect before they take action. Like men are like, I'm going to do this. And then you're like, you don't even know how to do all of that. And they're like, it'll be right. Whereas women are like, I have to know everything perfectly before I can go and do it. So I think that's a major difference between men and women.
Right. So then while dealing with them, do you really have to work with their frame of mindset, even before you introduce them to LinkedIn tools? Does that happen?
Yeah, what's really interesting is literally just over the last few weeks, I launched a new course that was aimed specifically for small businesses who are run by women. And one of the first things that I did when I sat down to write it, I was like, Vinda, I could teach them every tool and function and feature within LinkedIn. I know them with my eyes closed. I can teach anyone else how to do that. But you know what happens? If you're scared, then it doesn't matter about all of that. So I actually went back and I rewrote, okay, how do we build that confidence? And a really interesting stat that I'd love to share, and it applies just in online communities, is that we know that 90% of people will never ever post content or be active online. So they'll log in to LinkedIn every day, have a look around or once a week, and then they won't do anything. And then we've got 9% of the community who will log in and they might like or comment here or there, so still not a lot. That leaves 1% only who actually create content. So when you think about it, and I'm sure there's probably different, slightly different percentages with men and women, but if you think about it, only 1% of people are active. And there's so many amazing women out there that I want to take out of the 99% and move them into the 1%. And sometimes, you're right. It is about mindset. It is about having the right mentality going in before you take these actions. So, it's something that I skipped over previously, and my business is evolving as I learn more about what people need. But it's definitely something that if it's not right in your mind, the rest of it is just a waste of time.
Yes. So I'll share my experience here that I've started, it's just not even 1 year. By April, I think I'll complete 1 year where I am creating content on LinkedIn literally every day. So
wow.
Initially I faced those teething issues, those mindset issues. I had mental blocks, but I always had to, go back to this thing that I have to do this. And I am blessed enough and fortunate enough that I had somebody to coach me, to help me around with this. And you are now helping so many women. My next question to you, Michelle, is you are now there to help somebody. A lot of them who are wanting to make this kind of difference in their own entrepreneurial journey and making LinkedIn effectively useful tool out there. Who was there to help you? I mean, what have been those insights in your own life journey where you picked up something and then you picked up yourself also and started this journey with this mission? What is it?
Oh, look, it's really obvious. When I first set out to do my own business, I had no intentions of ever being a business owner. It happened by accident. I had to quit a job that I was working for someone who didn't share my business values. So I quit. And then the next day I didn't go back again. And I was like, I don't want to work for anybody else like that. I'm going to set up my own business. Fast forward, here I have my own business and I think I'm pretty amazing and I can do everything by myself. Very quickly, I learned that it's more than just how smart you are or what things you have learned in the past. I realized that my mind, we talk about imposter syndrome, we talk about, all of these other things that pop into your mind. They came to me. I went from managing 30 people to working at home by myself in the silence. And I'm an extrovert. I get energized by being around people, and I found it really hard. I was really fortunate that I came across some really amazing people on LinkedIn. It's one of my favorite features of LinkedIn is not anything that LinkedIn puts on the platform. It's the people you meet. So as far as the people that I met, there's one key person. Her name is Michelle Griffin. As it turns out, she's based in Florida in the United States. So she's on the other side of the world to me, but she's like my best friend, my business mentor. We help each other. We bounce off ideas. So I come from a sales background. She comes from a marketing background. What I'm really good at, she's not so good at, and vice versa. And we actually worked out that if we collaborate, we would both become better. And now that is now expanded to another small group, of women that are in the United States and Canada. And we all get together regularly to talk through some of the things that are stopping us in our business. Because a business is, for me, I teach people how to use LinkedIn, but running a business is so much more than that. How do we make sure we don't undervalue our services? That's probably the hardest thing for women to learn. That messaging is around don't undervalue your services and how much you charge people. Like it's something that the more conversations I have, the more I want to change that. That'll be one of my goals as well. But yeah, Michelle Griffin would be my go-to person that changed, my last, 18 months of having my business. And there's been so many other people along the way in different ways, but yeah, her and I'd be lost without her. So yeah, shout out to her for sure.
Great. So you talked about yourself, that you were an extrovert person, and I'm sure that must have pushed you at various levels to break across or break through a lot of pointers where you must have got stuck. What are those other characteristics which are there in you, or maybe during the course of time you must have built to find your path as an entrepreneur, as somebody who's on a mission, wanting to do something for people? What are those things? What are those characteristics which you built?
Yeah, so I didn't realize exactly. There was a couple of things that I tripped over in the beginning. So being an extrovert working from home by myself did not work okay. So I've had to learn how to manage that. I have a lot of client calls. I make sure that if anyone wants to catch up with me, I'm a yes, because it recharges me and I feel better and I can be more productive. Other things that I found is that I don't like to ask for help. I'm fiercely independent and I like to understand how things work. And in a business where I was by myself, I wanted to learn how to do everything. And then I realized if I want to do a big business, if I want to scale it, if I want to change the world and create more employment, I can't do that by myself, and while I'm trying to work stuff out when there's other experts out there that could do it in half the time or probably, a tenth of the time, I'm missing out on doing the things I'm really good at. So I've had to learn to ask for help. And, that might sound silly, but it's a hard lesson for me. And I know others probably struggle with that, but it was holding me back. I also, from time to time, I am, probably fall under the high achiever, overachiever category that always wants to try and do something at some crazy level and am never satisfied with that. So I have to manage my mindset to bring me back and say, look, my getting things done is more important than comparing myself to other people or making sure everything's perfect. Sometimes you don't need perfect, you just need it done. So they're probably the key things that have popped up for me. Like I don't have the anxiety around, posting content and things like that on LinkedIn. I've been doing it for about 8 or 9 years now. So those days are long gone. But for me, the hardest thing is when you're scrolling through your feed and you look at somebody else and you go, they've got more followers. oh, I like their marketing better, their graphic design is better. And I, have this little mental checklist of all the reasons that they're better and I'm behind. And that's when you get into a spiral. So if I can encourage anybody, you don't know how that other person's feeling, what's going on for them. We only see the best bits, when we're scrolling through social media. So, it's important sometimes to take a step back and be proud of your small achievements and then keep on going, and be the best that you can be for yourself.
Wonderful, wonderful. What an important takeaway and a learning by that, Michelle, because I'm sure all the people who are working around their own missions, their own purpose, passion, or their own ideas as an entrepreneur or as even as an individual come across some or the other mental blocks. But identifying them, accepting them, and then working around them to get over and ultimately looking at the bigger purpose, the greater common good is so important, realizing it at the right time. I am sure that, people who are listening to you, especially women, if they will sit back, take a pause for a moment and, look within that what are those mental blocks working on me still and what are those pointers where I still have to work on. I'm sure that whatever you just said will help them do that process for themselves. So with this, I wanted to ask you that now I'm talking to women and lady entrepreneurs across the globe. I wanted to understand from you that you must be working. You said for such a long time you're working with people. You must have come across women entrepreneurs from various areas, geographical areas. Do you see them facing similar kind of challenges, or the challenges differ when we change the geographical areas? What happens?
Look, I personally think it does change in geographies. Like, I think there are some cultural elements that come into everything on social media, like how quickly it's been adapted, how much technology is in local areas. Like, even access to stable internet is, sometimes a challenge for some of the countries that I deal with people. I managed once upon a time a team that was based in the Philippines, and we had to factor in, they had bad weather storms and flooding and their electricity would go out. And so I don't think it's fair to, put everyone on an even, playing field. And, people have different accesses to different education. So there's all kinds of levels of where people are at. And I think that's another reason why, if we don't fall into the thing where we try and compare ourselves with other people, you don't know how long they've been doing for it. You don't know if they've got a team of 20 people behind them, or if it's just one person working away. So, the important part is, as I said, just keep being the best that you can be. Surround yourself with people that are there for you in different ways to make sure you're the best person. And what I mean by that is, if I just surround myself with people that always tell me how good I am and that I'm amazing, and that's all that they do, what sometimes I need for my business to grow, and I'm sure it applies for other women, is sometimes I need somebody to keep me accountable. I need somebody to actually kick me up the butt and not tell me that I'm doing good, to say, you said you'd do this by this date, and it's not a bad thing. But if you don't have those different kind of people in your world, you don't achieve as much. And, and sometimes, having someone that's an opposite to you, or someone that has a different set of skills, can be really helpful to make sure that you grow. So yeah, if you just surround yourself with people that just tell you how amazing you are all the time, you won't grow. And so yeah, choose who you hang out with wisely.
You may have that feel good factor, but it will not lead you to some next level after a point. You were absolutely right. So when women entrepreneurs contact you, get in touch with you for this kind of help, I also want to ask you one more thing. Entrepreneurship, making money and through some idea or product or service is one thing. Do homemakers reach out to you saying that I have something to share with the world, and I want to use this platform not for remuneration but for my happiness? Has that happened ever?
Look, I wouldn't say homemakers as such. What I probably have that's similar to that is somebody that's currently working in a full-time role that is thinking about leaving that and setting up their own business, either immediately or sometime down in the future. And so it's those people that are sitting away and their mind's ticking and they've got these ideas and they want to share it, but they're not quite ready to leave their jobs. They're probably who I come across more. I have noticed LinkedIn has changed so much in the last 18 months. There is a space for everybody. It does not matter what the topic is that's important to you, that you want to share. You will find people that share, that love of your passion. So if you put it out there, so for people that are working in full-time jobs, that are thinking about becoming entrepreneurs, at some stage in the future, they're the ones that I can work with up front, so that when they're ready to actually quit their job, it's already all set up and they're ready to just go. Building it the day that you open up your business, like I had to do, is not a good idea. Learn from me, learn from my mistakes. That's how I help people, is that I've literally made all the mistakes you can make over the 8 years of being on LinkedIn and using it for social selling. The last 18 months being a solopreneur and having my own business and going through those challenges, I really understand how it is for entrepreneurs. Like, it's the hardest thing I've ever done. I don't ever lie to anybody and tell them it's so glamorous. I get to work whenever I want. It's the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my life, full stop. And I've done some pretty crazy, amazing things, but this challenges me in ways that I've never been challenged before. And I equate it to being on a tightrope and walking and trying to keep my balance, but there's no safety net underneath me. It's just, you've got to stay on track, and that's hard. And so I, have compassion and empathy for women who are doing that. And quite often they're also not just juggling that, but being moms as well, and wives and partners, and, looking after sometimes family members who are elderly. Like, we see that more and more. And so juggling those family priorities along as, also doing a business, I don't know how they do it.
Maybe a walk on a tightrope or something. Yeah, it is difficult.
Yeah,
and
you have only limited hours in a day and competing priorities. Where do you put your time? So yeah.
So yeah, that's what I was saying, that there are so many challenges, and there are also support systems around us. What is your one message? Now I'm coming towards the concluding part of our interview, where I would like to ask you that what is your message to them for their support systems? And also one more thing that I wanted to understand from you. Is there anything that you want to say to the society, that how inclusive they could be or how supportive they could be towards whole of this process? Is there anything that you want to say about it?
Yeah, look, the most powerful thing that you can ever build, regardless of what your business goal is a powerful community. If you want to do big things, you have to build people around you to help you do it to scale that. So spend a lot of time maintaining relationships on LinkedIn, finding new relationships, sometimes collaborating with people who you would call competitors. And I say that because they share your passion just as much. And there's enough work to go around for all of us. There's 810 million people on LinkedIn. If I work with another competitor, there's enough business to keep us both going for such a long time. So, reach out to them. They share your passion, and you might actually find you have a lot more in common than you don't. So, and again, to bring out the best in each other and understand what's going on in the industry. So for me, it's definitely focus on building a community, look for ways that you can support others for them to grow, because what goes around comes around. And that is especially true on LinkedIn.
Wow. Wow. Thank you so much, Michelle. It was such a nice experience to have this kind of chat with you, understand from you about your journey, and those learning points and insights coming from you. I'm sure our audiences will definitely benefit out of it. One important point which I feel I am taking away for myself is sitting back and addressing all those mental blocks which I might have. Probably they might not have created that kind of hurdle in my journey so far. But whenever they get into an action as in a player mode, I must address them right there, accept it the way it is, and then work around it, because when we want to overcome them and we are looking at a bigger journey, we must work around them, not ignore them, is one takeaway that I'm taking with me. And one more point is about the support system. If you wanting to build something really very big, you have to create those kind of systems around you. And once you start looking out for it, definitely you will find lot of them. One more point that I want to highlight from what Michelle said is the collaboration. There are so many people around us, and all of them are in need of some or the other thing. Understand what the needs are, and we have enough business and lot of things which are still untapped. We can still explore so many areas and do a lot around them. So, Michelle, it's not only the learning points that you brought, but the kind of energy, enthusiasm, and the joyfulness that you have brought is given a great enthusiasm to this platform as well. Thank you so much for being with us.
It is my absolute pleasure. And I'll leave you with one last tip before we wrap up.
Sure.
If the fastest way for you to get unstuck on those days when you're feeling anxious or you're worried about what you're going to do on LinkedIn and you're not sure about reaching out, stop and think for a minute. Who could I help if I put my content out there? What is the difference I can make in the world? And the second that you start thinking about that, you get out of your own head and it all becomes so much easier. So that's my tip for anyone that's listening in.
How beautifully put. After you seeing it, I don't have to conclude it with any other statement. Let this one statement and one message remain on our hearts, on our mind, and let it help us reflect, contemplate, and understand ourselves better. Thank you so much. And we'll keep coming with more episodes of in this series from this platform, The Revolving Perspectives. Thank you so much.
In psychology, we define career as anything that makes you productive.
So at this moment, I will say focus on the present, set your goal into bite size, where you can achieve it in the quickest span of time.
Self-talk is the most important. There is nobody out there who's going to encourage you as much as you can